Don't want to see that net taking hold ever. .3 at 100 meters with a frickin' shotgun. Don't need you anymore. Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
How many of the Hitman games have you played?
0.
I have played one, and I only played it once. But that technically means that we can cover it in a video. Welcome!
I think I have Hitman Absolution in my basement, and I've never once loaded it.
I think Hitman fans would tell you that is for the better. Welcome. We're gonna shoot the gun. If this is too loud, you are in control of that destiny. Wonderful. So the Hitman games, I'm gonna get this wrong, but I believe all the early Hitman games are all first person. But I believe they're kind of more like Deus Ex-y, Metal Gear-ish kind of stealth FPS games. I believe that's how that goes. And if I'm wrong, we can just put the Wikipedia page for the Hitman series on the screen. Wow. There are a lot of weapons, and we have, luckily, this fantastic new item spawner with all of these categories and cool things. We can search by tag. We can be like, yeah, I just want the guns from, I don't know, 1969. There are none. That was a bad year to pick. Best place to start is the beginning, which is...
Very first weapon is your Beretta 92 FS.
I was hoping you would say the name of the game.
Oh. Hitman, Codename 47.
Codename 47. I was about to say Agent 47, and it didn't feel right.
Codename 47. I am good at interpreting signals.
M92 FS, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Beretta 92 full-size handgun.
I like the silver, actually.
It looks very nice in silver, I will say. You get 15 rounds, which I wasn't ready for. That's 3 more than I was expecting. And it was... I mean, we're shooting at 15 meters. We'll take some of these to the sniper range later. I mean, there's a reason this gun is in, like, every single one of these videos. It's quite lovely, and it's a good baseline pistol. Some might call this Agent 47's most iconic firearm. They would be wrong. We did not decide on a system for figuring out.
I was about to say, where are you ranking this? You want to just do 1 out of 5s again? Or 5 system?
Sure. This will be a fantastic way to demonstrate the central limit theorem, too. Because we're just going to have a big mountain of 3s, starting with this. A perfectly 3 points.
Next up is the Desert Eagle Mark 19.
Right. Because it was like the early 2000s, and every game needed some gigantic pistol. I shot low on all of those, but the last one. Okay, so I get Agent 47 was like grown in a lab and designed to be the perfect killing machine or whatever, something along those lines. This seems a bit excessive for human targets. And that's really the problem the Desert Eagle keeps running into in all of these videos. Is it's excessive for the job unless your job is like, oh, there's a tank. Like, Left 4 Dead is really the only time that I've thought, hey, the Desert Eagle makes sense in this, for this task. And somebody in the comments was like, it's clear you've never fired a Desert Eagle. It's the best gun ever. You've never fired a Desert Eagle. I want a rifle, but I don't want a long barrel. I don't want a foregrip. I don't want a stock. I want the magazine to go in the grip. I want a rifle, but I want it in the form of a pistol. That's what you get with the Desert Eagle. But it's just the worst of both, because you don't get the stability of a rifle. You get, this system in a pistol scenario doesn't work fantastic. It's unstable, it's gonna jam, and you're using way more force than really you'd need to, given what flippin'. This is going to appear later. I already know, but you can make the case that the Desert Eagle 357 makes a lot more sense, because this remarkably less kick. I'm still not accurate with it. Remarkably less kick, and it's 357, which is already being used in handguns. 44 was kind of on the high end, and that was mostly as like a protective sidearm when you're going hunting. 50 is just too much. 50 is just too much. It's really just there to flaunt, hey, look at how awesome I am. Bam, bam, bam. Style is going to end up being the big determining factor for many of these weapons, I feel. It gets like a 2.5. I can't bring myself to give it a 3.
Your next one is the Luger P08 Suppressed.
Yeah. I'm just going to kind of go for... No, this one's called the Hitman Suppressor. I'm sorry, we need to do Hitman Suppressor.
The Luger in that game, yeah, that's basically closest you got.
Oh, you actually looked it up?
I actually looked it up.
Wow.
It's just your standard cylindrical.
Yeah, this one's just called the Hitman Suppressor, so I'm using this.
Just the standard thing.
Well, you better hope your target's got just a gigantic head. I'm only at 15 meters and I'm having a hard time. Okay, that's a bit better. Over time, I feel like it's going to average out to being better. It doesn't have a lot of kick, but it's also not terrifically accurate. So it's kind of this, like, weird... You're fighting the mechanical inaccuracy the whole way down, which is kind of the problem. Yeah. I will say I like the toggle lock system. I think it's just neat. You know, for what it's worth, I think the Beretta is still a better killing tool, in that it's more accurate. But, you know, this thing's not very accurate, but it's kind of, you know, it's stylish, it's handsome, you know. You can break it into two pieces. This is rather slim, so you can fit that somewhere, and then you get past security checkpoint and you just go shoot, 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 bang, 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 bang. Yeah, I'm gonna give that 2.5 points. Also.
All right. Next one is the Tiny Derringer. Cheat codes only.
Okay, yeah. So I need to. This is where tag search mode can come in handy. Size, pocket. This one. So there is a teeny tiny little Derringer in Hitman, but you need to use cheat codes to actually obtain it. And this is about as good as we're going to do. And I don't think I'm going to be able to land any of these shots from 15 meters. That was too high. That was too high. So how low do I have to shoot? Are you kidding me?
I feel like you can throw an orange at a target and get better accuracy than this firearm does.
Not even just better accuracy, it's gonna do more damage.
I mean, what are these things firing? 22s?
Nope, this is firing 41 short.
Oh, why do I feel like Snake Shot does more damage than this?
I want to say Anton said, number of rounds to the power of the rounds to the accuracy, this is the worst gun in H3VR. So, you know, there's that. For sure, this is a cheat code weapon. It's not, you're not, like... You'd have better luck just like walking up and slapping somebody with your flippin' briefcase. It's... I don't know.
No, have you not seen the video? It was from a Hitman game where the guy like chucks his briefcase at somebody and it just homes in on him.
So how throwing things in... We're now getting off track. We will talk these games later, but I do want to touch on this. So the World of Assassination Hitman games, which is the reboot series 1, 2, and 3, how they used to work, 1 and 2, and I think 3 for the very beginning of its life, also worked this way. When you threw an object, you had already picked what target you were going to hit, so it's a guaranteed hit. So it's like, in case they're walking away, you know, your thrown weapon would curve towards them, you're not going to miss. There is a guy on a jet ski who moves at about the same rate as your thrown weapons. So people would chuck the briefcase or katana or something at him, and it would just flail around behind him while he goes jet skiing. And then he comes to a stop on the beach and then gets just whammed in the back of the head.
I have the clip in question saved. I'll send it to you on Discord later so we can have it as a reference.
Yeah, I've also seen one where there's a guy walking past in a hallway, and a guy throws the briefcase, and he just watches it take a sharp right turn like Tom and Jerry. This was designed to, you know, fit neatly in like a shirt pocket or something, so that way you can then, you know, sneak up behind somebody and go, BAM! And they go, what was that? It gets 1 point for style.
MP5A3.
It's always the A3.
It's always the A3, yeah.
Oh my god. When you unfurl all the MP5s in this game like this, it's a nightmare.
They all look the same.
I mean, they're all MP5s, but you have the MP510 A4, A5, the MP540 A4 and A5, the MP5 A1 through 5, the MP5 SD 1 through 6. Wow. And it doesn't have any associated secondary objects. Thank you, Anton. There is not a previous page button. Uh-oh. You're going to attract a lot of attention. Yeah, that's fine. This is a... do I give it a 3.5? Despite everything I've ever said about the MP5, I don't mind this. Yeah, I guess you get a 3.5.
Are you aware that you've only given, like, 2 of these weapons so far a, like, singular integer that wasn't a float?
It's... fine.
Okay. Next one's the MP5 DS3.
SD3. This is gonna be weird. I think this one feels less accurate.
I accidentally pressed the wrong button. Continue.
Yeah, this one is actually less accurate, I feel. So this is actually, like, it just, like, bounces around more. And there's probably, a good sciencey explanation somebody can give. Somebody whose name is probably, like, John Firearmman or something, who knows these guns, who can be like, well, yeah, it's because there's less velocity on the rounds and it's going through all these baffles, so the gun's kicking around more, and that puts the bullet further off the trajectories. It's just that it's quieter. 3.
3?
I don't like how that one feels compared to the unsuppressed.
Next is the IMI Uzi.
Oh, yay! I feel like the Uzi has a nasty habit of showing up in places I don't think it belongs. shouldered on the stock or not, it's about the same, which I don't think should be the case. This is going to be controversial. I don't like how it looks.
It's honestly just kind of a brick of metal with a barrel at the end.
Yeah, it's like if you, like, were trying to grow... This is like the prize-winning version of this. Like, you were growing these in your field, and then you bring this to the county fair and win the blue ribbon.
I'm sorry, but I'm absolutely haunted by the idea that you just grow firearms.
Play Shotgun Farmers. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's an arena FPS where you have to grow your own guns.
Thanks, I ate it.
Your ammo is seeds, so, you know, if you're on your last shell in the shotgun, you just, bam, shoot it in the ground and wait for a new one to grow. And then you rip it off the stalk, and you're ready to go killing again. A voice in the back of my head's like, give it 2 points. And that feels right. I don't know. It's big and cumbersome, so you really can't sneak it in. And it's also just kind of, like, inaccurate. Even though, you know, it does fire at a lower fire, which I do tend to like. Here I feel like it's going to be more of a disservice because, like, there'll be time for people to go, like, what's going on between those 2 shots and start freaking out. Also, did I spawn that, I need to know. No. What is this suppressor for?
Doesn't fit.
This is... Oh, this is the compact. No, this is the right Uzi. What the heck? You can't even take the bike horn, can you? That's... What? Yeah. Suppressed Uzi time. Okay, it's slightly better suppressed, but I would still take the MP5.
Alright. Then 2 out of 5 still is your rating.
Yeah, that's exactly what I had to do.
You have to hit the base, not the tip.
Weird. Oh yeah, that blows my hearing clean out. Forgot.
Next up is the Mossberg 500.
How many pellets? That was 26? That was a lot of pellets. Yeah. Was that already 6? That was 5. Probably I only grabbed 5. Yeah, it's 4 plus 1. Okay. Well, I'll be darned. And that was at 15 meters, too. That's still really impressive for 30 meters. Yeah, bring that paper back up. Let's take a look at that. Shotguns in video games have such a bad rap, because all of them, every single shotgun in video game history operates like this frickin' thing. Every single video game shotgun is just like, okay, well that was a bad example.
I was about to say, that was perfect grouping. What are you talking about?
Every video game shotgun, they still all made it onto the paper. They all were a bit north of where I was expecting. Do I just have, like, some kind of, like, holy buckshot that... I don't know. This is worrying me. I'm trying to make a point a little more like what I wanted, but still too good. Video game shotguns are just, like, awful, but I can't make it... H3VR shotguns are too good. That's a unique problem. That's a problem I've never, like... They're too good! Anyways, where do I put this? Yeah, it's classy. You know, Agent 47 will be like, oh no, I'm just a game hunter, and the game is you. Bam. The most dangerous game hunter. Bah. Do I give it 4? I give it 4.
Next one, since you're actually already there, double barrel sawn off.
Right. You know, let's bring this down to 30 meters. Maybe this will be... maybe this will prove my case.
Well, it should just be the shell that you're loading and not the gun itself.
50 out of 52. Pull that back in. Still quite a bit kind of out and around there, but like pretty tight grouping there in the middle. Anyways, we have to give this a numeric rating, and yeah, it's a 3.5. Well, it's also a 4. Every shotgun is just good. Like, what you lose in ammo capacity you make up for with portability, and, you know, you're still firing a quite nice round, so it really doesn't make that big of a difference.
Alright, going into rifles now. Starting with the AKM.
Yay, wait. Last night we were kind of going over this. Sort of. I was going over it, and I then reported my results back to Dan. I found... So the AKM was an attempt to modernize the AK-47, and really all they did is the barrel tip is differently shaped, and then this cutout is differently shaped. But there are a lot of guns competing for the role of the next AK. You know, the gun to replace the AK-47. Yeah, on the screen, can we put the Konstantinov SA-01? Yes, the grip is indeed above the barrel. No, I don't know why. There are a couple others. Put both of the other pictures I sent to Dan on the screen. They're all delightfully cursed. And then I guess the Soviet Union...
They really are.
The Soviet Union was like, no, we aren't doing this anymore. We'll just take the AK we already have and just kind of change it a little. It doesn't... Just don't give Konstantinov any money. Don't even... If he shows up, turn him back around and have him leave. He's like, hey look, I put the grip above the barrel. It's like, nope. Don't pay him any mind, he does not exist. Not great at 30 meters, but I'm just not a good shot. Let's slide that back out to 15 now and watch what happens. I did get all but 3 of the rounds on the paper, so I'm... That time I got all the rounds on the paper, and I'm just gonna run out to the paper. Shit, don't do this in a range. Yeah, I'm pleased with that grouping. And if you like the AK, but you're just like, God, I wish it was bigger, I have exciting news for you. I love the RPK so much. It's just a bigger AK. A 3. I am not even going to comment on how that landed.
Next up is the AK-101.
5.56 by 45. No way! This don't work. Okay, thank God. They made an AK that fires flippin' NATO rounds. That was impressively stable. Yeah, no, there's no way I'm gonna feel bad about this. 4.5. And plus it's all black plastic, so you can kind of just break it into pieces, stick it in a case, stick foam over that, and it's just like, this is my audio equipment. Because it's about to make some fucking noise.
Next one is kind of basic, but the M16A4.
Yeah, this is, I think, supposed to be the A2. There will be a problem, and it's that this one can do full, and this one can only do burst. But we will not hold that against it. Yeah, no, it's fine. There is one thing this little catch up here. You just kind of slap that, and then you don't need to work the bolt. It's ready to shoot. Yeah, no, this is a 3. Okay.
It literally says nah.
If that's what you want to do, then I guess feel free.
WA2K.
Oh yeah, this is probably, I think, the first gun most people think of when you think Hitman. And this is really where style points become everything.
Like,
Because the flippin' WA-2000 was designed for military purpose, but they just way over-engineered it and it became way too expensive. It's like if you went, hey, we want a military, SUV. And the auto manufacturer went, okay, what kind of specs do you want? It's like, okay, well, it needs to set up tall so we can go through, water in that. It needs to be kind of all-terrain. It needs to be comfortable and able to hold this many people. Okay, and they come back 3 years later with an Escalade. Nice clear picture on the site. Okay, I gotta amp up a little. And that's all she wrote. 47 popped off when he was like, yes, I want this to be my sniper rifle.
he really did.
This was... Why was it always West Germany? West Germany in the 80s was just on, like, some other shit. Like,
West Germany in the 80s was just like, hey, what if we made everything?
No, like... This is... I mean, it was a few years before the G11, but... It was right in that time. What about the costs? 82, West Germany. 82, West Germany. Fellas, you didn't have any money. Look at all the junk hanging off the trigger. That's how you know you're in fucking business. Did they put something extra in the sauerkraut, fellas?
I was about to say something was spiked somewhere during this development.
During all of these. Yeah, no, there is no way I can't... In a Hitman video, there's no way I can't give this a 5. All of its impracticalities are awesome in this scenario because he's literally a contract killer. And it's just... It wins all the style points.
It does. It really does. Next up, because we're talking about stealth and contract killing and being quiet, we're gonna put the M60 on display.
Yeah.
M60.
Maybe this isn't a stealth game. I don't know. The more I read the list, the more I'm like, is this anything like the Hitman I'm familiar with? I should have maybe played more of the games. But I've heard not great things about some of the ones coming up. So maybe I shouldn't have. We got a bipod again. That's
Always
a
useful.
beefy bipod. It's got the flippin' speed holes like a Target cart.
Jesus.
Wham! Well done, Agent 47. You've ground Elon Musk to a pulp. 8.11 average on an M60. I am content with that. Bring that sheet over here. I want to look at this bad boy. I'll even go easy on myself and just give myself 9 meters to do this. Yeah!
That just kind of looked satisfying.
That was liberating, even though it wasn't real. But I can't not give you a good score, because that was... God. 3.5 points.
Ah.
Above average, just... I don't know why you're here, but welcome.
Right. And then your last edition for Hitman Codename 47 is the M134.
Right. We've never done a full 1,000 rounds out of this thing before. Ah. Oh, come on, Carney. Don't I win the prize? Look at how much I shot out. And now everybody gather around the campfire. Did you bring your marshmallows?
I was about to say, I got the marshmallows, I got the chocolate.
You know where we put the things we don't want to give a numeric rating for fear that it might just completely screw up our entire, like, our entire rating system. Why did I just drop? Oh, I dropped the flippin'. Anyways, we put it in. Wait. Oh, come on. wait.
Significantly bigger.
Wait. You're complaining that it's not sneaky. Come on. Yeah, there we go. No problem. We give it a G.
Give it a G.
I don't know what to do with it in this scenario. So that is all the weapons from Hitman. Codename 47.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't help but feel like we're missing one, but... I don't know.
That's all of them.
I don't
That's
know. We'll move on. Hitman 2. Is Hitman 2 the one people don't like, or is that Hitman 3? Is it both? I should have looked it up. Tell me on the screen. Actually, we don't even need to do that. You can just look up the Metacritic scores.
Hitman 2 Silent Assassin for the PC got a 8.2 out of 10.
What's the user score sitting at?
That is the user score, 8.2.
Oh. I thought
the Metascore is at 87.
Wow! What about Hitman 3?
Hitman Contracts got a 74 Metascore.
Those are both not bad.
And Absolution got a 79, so I'm not sure.
What?
Colt Python.
Oh, right, and it's a snub nose, right? Is this the one? Yeah. Imagine the barrel is small. Like, I couldn't make a small barrel happen for this. We're gonna go ahead and just kind of sluice that on out to 25 meters, and away we go. Yeah, I've fired all I need to. This thing, every time it shows up, it's lovely. It feels rather accurate. It hurts my eyes when I'm in the light. 4.5. It's lovely.
4.5. Alright. Your next one up is the Ruger Mark II.
Right! Every single Hitman game after this is all about that there Ruger. We're gonna use the Mark III because that's the Ruger I've got. 2004?
This looks like something you'd find in like an old James Bond. Like the Sean Connery James Bonds.
I'm right there with you. I thought this was like 1966 and this would be like 1972. Thought the glow sights might have been aftermarket, but... No, oof. This is as old as Shrek 2! I mean, if you're really holding out for a hero, I don't know if this is really going to help you. You see the Shrek 2 joke I made there? I like it. I like the Ruger. It is kind of a tiny peppy round, but it, zero recoil, and it's just slick. It wins style points big time here. Good enough to give it more than a 3? Yes. This gets that 3.5 because the practicality of it. It's the practicality. It's kind of a concealment factor. And it's the fact that because it is such a tiny round with not a lot of noise, you can get away with bopping somebody in the head with it. And then you have on the other side of the flippin' 22 gravy train, you got this thing, which also fires 22 LR. This thing downloads Winamp skins for fun.
It does. Alright, next one is the M4A1, both with iron sights and with a sight.
There's this for the M16. It's a scope that screws into the actual carry handle, and there's no... Oh god, never mind. Okay, never mind. I was about to go on this whole, well, it's supposed to be like this, but we can't make that work, so this will do. Nope. It decided it wanted to cooperate. Slap that on top. This can go back all the way out. Because I've got the scope. Oh, this is not a great scope. I don't like the scope. I feel like that was better. It doesn't need the scope. 2 points.
Next is the AKS-74U.
Yeah, that was pretty good. It's a good mix between that and that. It does sit somewhere halfway. So a 3.5 it gets. I don't got nothing else to say about it. It's just kind of a little AK thing. It knows what it's trying to be. It knows what it wants to be. And by golly, it's going to be exactly what you would think.
Well, that makes things super easy because our next one is the double barrel full size.
Oh yeah. Don't mind me. I'm just cleaning house. Remember the Campbell's soup ad?
You gotta be more specific than that.
The one where the can chases after the children?
That was Chef Boyardee. But yes, I do recall.
Go get the grease makeup and flippin' party hat and big red nose. So I sure am a fool here. Full-size double barrel. Yep, that's about what I expected. It does get a 3.5, but only because I feel like this is a lot harder to sneak in than this. And really, because your choke sits somewhere like here, you know, the amount of barrel you have doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. Next one is the Spash 12, but without a stock. We were actually just talking about this.
That did not go well. Yeah, no, the Spas gets a 3 in this case. I bumped the mic. Spas gets a 3. I just stopped the presses. They removed the front, the rear sight from the tactical. No wonder it was so garbage.
The SVD Dragunov.
It sits in a weird spot in my vision, where if I get it too close, I can't read it anymore. But if I pull it too far back, that I can't read any of the info in it.
That's annoying.
Eyes are weird, and mine aren't great. Yeah, just take a bajillion meters. Go. Alright. Yep, we are locked, loaded. thought I hit new target. There we go. I was about to say, that's weird. I had 11 rounds, but no, it was 10. I was off by 1. I at the very least appreciate that. This could have just been like the RPK, where they just take a AK and make it big, but they actually did a little more than that. It is shaped differently. You know, the magazine and the safety are different. It has a stock that isn't just the club stock. I feel comfortable giving that a 4.
Dragunov 4 out of 5?
Yeah.
Then now we got the M60E3.
Oh boy!
Oh boy, indeed.
Very few of those hit the... I mean, 84 of them hit the target. But not... That didn't go great. We don't need to fire this a bajillion times. I honestly, I like that one more than this one. Yeah, I feel like the audacity of having a machine gun and a hitman with the... Like, we already did this bit. Like, this is just kind of... I thought with the foregrip it'd be cooler, but it actually is not. 2.5. So this is all the weapons from Hitman's 1 and 2. I still feel like something's missing. It's gonna come back to me later, I know that. Hitman 3, Contracts. I think this is like just kind of more missions for Hitman 2. Like, I think 47's in like a coma, or like he's dead at the end of the game, but he's not, but he sort of is, but he's not. I don't know. There's something weird about it. People were kind of disappointed in that. That's what I'm thinking of. But Hitman 3 starts us off with...
the Glock 19. And it specifically stated that almost all of these can both take a suppressor, and most one-handed weapons can be dual-wielded if desired.
Mm-hmm. Wait, Glock 19?
19.
Okay, I thought that was the full auto one. It's not.
No.
No, it's the Glock 19 compact. I'm not going to dual wield any of these, honestly, because it just seems like it's not going to go over well. It never goes over well.
No.
It did alright. I'll give it a 3. I don't know if I can sit here and deliberate whether it's better or not than the Beretta 92. That's just... It's just going to become splitting hairs.
Sig Sauer, P220, or B226 Mark 25. There's a lot of numbers going on there.
Yep. Holy crap, that did awful. That did better, but it's still not doing as good as I'd like. Yeah, 2.5.
That was quick.
Again, West Germany in the 80s. This one's at least normal shaped.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, maybe because it is West Germany, you're supposed to hold it like this. You never know.
Yeah, you
I think
never do.
I think that's more Nevada though.
Yeah, that's more a Nevada thing. Next is the Smith & Wesson Model 500.
Every time the Model 500 shows up, I'm just taken aback by the absolute size of this unit.
Oh yeah. It's irrationally large.
I mean, let's go. This is just fun. Okay. Alright. Time to eviscerate my wrists. Hey! 9. Holy crap! See, my only problem with this thing is that this isn't stealth. Like, they're gonna think you're on your way to kill Texas Red. But I guess, that's what the 500 Junior is for. This is still massive. No, this is still overkill. It's at least slightly better design. It's a 3 then. It's a better designed attempt at what the Deagle was going for.
Next is specifically only on a loading screen is an MP5K.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's definitely how I expected a gun on a loading screen to behave. Yeah. 2.
2.
Yeah. Alright,
Now it's the IMI Micro Uzi.
I'm kind of just pushing everything towards the garbage can to take care of that later. The Micro Uzi. I want them to go smaller. I want a Nano Uzi that's just like a Derringer, but in this shape. And it fires off its rounds. It fires its 2-round burst with 2 rounds. I think I'm actually almost onto something. Again, like, this gets dual wielded in the game somehow. I don't even want to fire 1! It's slightly more manageable when I do it that way. Okay, yeah, holding your hand next to it does brace it. It's still not good. 1.5. You destroyed Palestine for that? For shame.
Alright, MP9.
MP9, okay. You've got a buddy!
The AUG.
Is this the weird 9mm AUG?
There is a 9mm AUG in the game.
And not in this one. Hitman Contracts has an AUG, but it's like a tiny one that fires 9mm, which I can't make happen. So just forget it. Here are iron sights. Right, this thing's got the BS trigger, so I don't know how to show you this. Pull down a little, and you get single. If you want to go into full, you keep pulling down. It is just yeeting lead, or casings all over. Just all over. I guess that's what happens when your ejection port's facing out at a 45-degree angle. I still like the MP5 more. Yeah, this gets a 3. The MP5 has so far been the best fully automatic weapon out of this whole... Other than, you know, our obvious ones. Okay, the AK was the best. These AKs were pretty good. M60 was fun, but like the most like practical one thus far has been the MP5.
Yeah. Next up is the PGM Mini Hectate.
Okay, yeah.
Mini Hectate.
So, the Mini Hecate is... Let's get the full-sized one. Welcome. It's this, but down to the scale of, like, this. So, actually not that much smaller. Yep. Are you another 5? What is this weird gap for? You know what? It comes with a snack compartment, so it gets the 5. Contracts. Hitman 3. We're done?
We're done with it, yeah.
Yeah. Now this is what we've got. Any questions? I can't answer your questions because this is all pre-recorded. And now we move on to Hitman Blood Money. Yes?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Hitman Blood Money I know people like.
Alright, first one. The M1911 Tactical.
Here we go. Now we're getting into 1911s. Just...
We all love a 1911.
So, there was a mod I could have downloaded to get rid of the red dot, but... No, I don't want the Bergman. But this is more or less what the Tactical 1911 looks like in Blood Money. It's going to behave exactly how we think it's going to behave. And we're all just going to enjoy it. Four more rounds than I was expecting, but... It is weird that it's an 11-round magazine, I will say. Yeah, that's a 4.
4? Okay.
Well... Yeah, I think the one in the game is 12 rounds. Yeah, 4 is fine.
Well, your next one you've actually already done today, and that was the Deagle 357.
Oh yeah, this is where it pops up. So if you're gonna fire a Deagle, this is really the only one I can bring myself to, like, reason with. It's still... It looks flat. It's like they just went bonk and just flattened, like it squashed it. Yeah, 9 rounds, pretty decent accuracy, pretty good amount of recoil. I actually really quite like this one. I'm gonna give this a 3.5. 3.5. Where did I put the, Oh, at 4.5? I'll meet you in the middle. You'll get a 4.
Next up is the USP.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a regular USP in this game. We'll just claim that this is just a regular USP. The USP is interesting because it asks the question, what if a pistol could fire 45 ACP, which no other gun in history has ever done before? What happened on shot number 4? A 3.5, I feel, is fine.
Mauser C96.
Because when I think Hitman, I think Grandpa's gun.
I mean, clearly.
Although, to be fair, I think this is like some like collector's weapon. And you have to like find it, and then pick it up, and then there's like some kind of bonus thing where you kill a guy with it, I think. It's environmentally friendly because it doesn't have box magazines I slam all over the floor. It's just got little clips. All I gotta do is this. I'll claim that as environmental friendliness. Yeah, that did alright. Yeah, welcome to Threesville.
Taurus Raging Bull.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's favorite 6-shot revolver. I started on a really good note, and then I just kept sliding down the paper. I don't know, I still like the Python more. You get a 3.5.
Schofield Model 3.
Oh, the Schofield. What did you think I gave it?
I don't even know at this point.
Schofield Model 3. Proteus is actually getting a Schofield revolver. But what's interesting is the reason it's getting a Schofield revolver is because one of the backer tiers on Proteus was you get to help us design a gun. And the person who got that tier, who won the Schofield, was Anton Hand.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So because of like Small Domino, he starts making a bunch of little experiments in VR. Big Domino, this, and Proteus. So I can't see shit until I flip and drop the hammer, which I think is funny. I did way better than I thought I was going to do. That said, it's still not great. It produces a lot of smoke. And it is only single action, even though it does kind of spring open and eject all the rounds. I'll give you a 2.5. It's a lovely 2.5, but I don't know. It could be better. Oh, it could be better.
MP5A2.
Alright, we're moving up in the world, or down in the world. It's a different MP5 number. And hey, look at what it's got. That's right, a place to put the strap. I want to fire this with a straight magazine just because. I mean, somebody here's got to be straight. Right? No, it gets the curved mag. It probably helped to take off of safe. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's still good. 3.5. Whoop. Yeah, we have had a bit of a landslide. You're in 3, you're in 3.5. There we go. 3.5. It's just as good as the other MP5.
Yeah, that's understandable. MP7.
Yep, that's over in personal defense weapon. I feel like every time we fire the MP7, it's been, ugh.
Honestly, I'm surprised you haven't said that about any of the MP5s yet, because you've only fired like 7,000 of them.
No, that's not true. I've fired one 7,000 times. $35 rounds, and it didn't do good. Now let's drop these sights and just use the tiny ones. It was not a 35 round magazine, it was 40. It still didn't do great. Well, okay, now the stock does come out. We didn't really do that. No, you get the 1.5.
1.5?
I don't like that.
It's a shame, because I like the MP7. I think it's got a nice design.
I was just about to say
in Counter-Strike.
I feel bad. I was just about to say it's not even a looker. I don't know. Anton had a really good point on Twitter. So you know how like Star Wars, all the weapons are like World War II guns, but just like greebled to hell and back with extra junk slapped on it.
Basically.
He doesn't like Destiny 2, and like the guns in Destiny, and he finally realized why. They've done that, but for like these kinds of guns. Like the contemporary, like 2000s, like the modern era guns, just with a bunch of junk stapled to it, and they're already not lookers as it is. They're just kind of boxes made out of black plastic and flipping steel.
Yeah. Then the Remington 870.
That I can do. Clear. It didn't do as good as the other ones did, even though it's the same ammo. And I'm wondering if that's just because I'm not a good shot. I mean, okay, that's a decent shot, and I did get a bullseye or two. So I guess I'm content with that. I guess is a 4.
Alright. Remington 870 is a 4 out of 5. Now we get to laugh at the FN F2000, which apparently is pretty bad in-game as well.
Okay, so... there is an F2000 in the game. And it's this. It's just a big rubbery plastic Sosa gun. Because Anton hates the F2000. And a lot of people are like, oh, he's just a weenie about it, and he fired a bad one. It's, you know. Because Battlefield Vegas abuses the hell out of the guns, because they're all full, or for the most part, most of them are full auto. And they get, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds fed through them, you know, every day. And then you compound that over the number of years they probably had the F2000. So he probably fired a shitty one. But he's still not sure if he was going to like it, because it's just, it's weird. And I don't know if the Sosa gun, no, it doesn't. So all of the bullet casings, I think, they fall, what, out front and forward, kind of? And then they gave it this, like, stupid, like, sight scope thing on the top. Hitman Blood Money didn't model the scope because they were worried about polygon counts. So it's a carry handle on top, so you can't aim down the sights. There's like, no sights. But they still modeled the ejection port, which is odd. And in the level you find it in, it's already outclassed by any of the weapons you could have brought in. So there's really no reason to pick it up. And I think it's funny. Anton hates the F2000. This is the only F2000 in the game. He built a model for the F2000, like, as a full-size, like, simulation gun. But just so he could throw it into a fire in a flippin' machinima he made for a Christmas ad, and then delete it from the game. That's all it existed for. And in Hitman, it was just also not good. So it's just a trifecta of bullshit that I love dearly. Just a perfect storm of suck.
But the M4A1, with the Beta CMAG, the ACOG on a riser, a suppressor, a laser, and an angled foregrip.
So there are a few guns in Hitman that you can kind of just mod the hell out of. And the M4 is one of them. And I think this is all the different mods. Wait, was there anything else? ACOG on a riser, big drum mag, angled foregrip, suppressor.
A laser.
Laser! Okay, so this is, I mean, a good enough approximation for what we're doing.
Thanks, Discord.
Alright, so behold. A man. I missed a shot. It didn't do great. I feel like we've kind of lost the plot a little bit with something like this. If you know what I mean. It's like, yeah, stealth is an option.
Next is much easier. M14.
Oh, yeah. I totally didn't start a new set. I started off on a really good foot, and then I just kind of started rapid firing it. Which reminds me that the M14 has perhaps the most frightening option a weapon of its caliber should have.
It does.
That did shockingly well. I mean, it was only at open 8 meters, but of all of the more stealthy of all the more like snipery rifles, this one's not the best, but it's still pretty good. I'll give this a 3.5, sure.
I don't even really count that as a sniper. I count that as a scout rifle.
Well, sniper E rifle. It's not an assaulty rifle. I mean, I guess it could be if you do fire it full auto, but I mean, 7.62 NATO full auto 20 rounds seems a little much.
That is kind of insane. SG 552.
Yeah, 20 rounds is decently accurate. I don't like that it's 20 rounds. You get a 3.
Lee Enfield, number 4.
Yeah, the Enfield number 4. That is a bolt-action rifle. Alright. Whole new target, whole new set. It's a whole new game and a whole new world with new rivals as you fight for survival. Nothing can stop. I own Brilliant Diamond. I haven't even started it yet.
See, it's funny that you haven't even started. Meanwhile, my coworker is just like, yeah, me and this other coworker, we're on a race to see who can finish the game first.
I used to be like that with the Pokemon games. I would, oh, I have more rounds. It just didn't cycle. Yeah, I beat Heart Gold, like, from starting the game to beating Red in, like, 6 days. And then I beat Black in a weekend, or White in a weekend. I couldn't beat Black 2. I made it to the 8th gym on day 1, beat the 8th gym, and then I got soft locked because flipping NPCs that were supposed to disappear after I completed the 8th gym just didn't. So I couldn't beat Black 2. And then Pokemon Y was the last Pokemon game that I played like all in a row, and I beat that one in literally 2 days.
Yeah.
Haley watched me beat that game, and I had zero reaction to it. It was just... At that point, I was just playing them just so I could shuffle old Pokemon into the new game. So... I didn't care. I didn't read any of the insane genocidal lore behind Lysander until last year. And I played and beat Y. So... do with that what you will.
Yeah, Lysander was, like, absolutely maniacal.
I feel like his, like, scheme in X is more twisted than the one in Y. Because, Pokemon Y, that was Yveltal, who was, like, the Pokemon of Death. All he had built was a Death Ray. Woo, go you. In Pokemon X, he uses Xerneas to make, like, a beam of eternal life to doom all of humanity to immortality. No matter how much you want to try to die, you can't.
Oh.
I know! Yeah, you get a 4.
Heck yeah.
Remember that thing I said about the... I guess... Okay, well, I was about to say, you know the thing I said with the central limit theorem and how it's all going to kind of coalesce here? It's not doing that. But I guess the whole point of the central limit theorem is that you take the averages of these kind of mounds, and if you have enough of them, then they'll kind of even out. All of your averages average out about here and kind of spread out. So if we do like 1 billion of these episodes, at least 30 of these episodes, then we'll be able to kind of build our graph, and it'll be normally distributed, and then we can do all of our stats problems or whatever the hell you want to do with them. I don't care. Next.
Alright. Next up is the...
I'm going to lean back for a second. I'm just going to try to... My back. I'm trying to, like, crack my back, and it's just not... Oh! Well, that was weird. I don't know if I cracked my back or slipped the disc. Anyways.
The break action rifle.
Oh, yeah. So... I mean, it should be a break action rifle. There aren't any break action rifles. There's break action shotguns that I can load individual rounds into. There is one, and I need to find it. I don't remember where it's at. Yeah, this is just like a toy gun. So we're just gonna use the Quackenbush. So there's a cool glitch you can do in Hitman, Blood Money, where you take the air gun and you just kind of drop it, and an enemy will pick it up, and then you can harass that enemy and they'll start shooting you, but the thing does 0 damage. It's just to pester enemies. But now they'll just keep firing at you, and you won't react at all to it. This is 22. This isn't even going to land on the paper. That shot straighter than I thought it was going to. Holy crap. want to give it a good score because it's effectively useless. But it's the best firing useless thing I've ever seen. I have to give you a 2. Sorry, Uzi MP7. This is just better than you. By some arbitrary metric I don't even think I understand.
Ready for our next one?
You know the crinkly plastic stuff that they put in cat toys?
Yeah.
My back just made that noise. But this is all the weapons from Blood Money. And now we move into Hitman Absolution, which was not good. Next time, Hitman Absolution, the series collapses, and join Jay and Dan in a world of pure assassination when the Hitman H3VR Tryout series continues. If you like this video and you'd like to see more, I'd recommend subscribing. Patreon and social media links are in the description.